Hello everybody, Danny Music Man here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you guys have had a fantastic day today. Guys, it is over. The wait is over. It's all done. The Switch 2 Nintendo Direct had happened a couple days ago, and it's time to talk about it because there is definitely a lot to talk about, and that's what we're gonna kind of focus on today, is the pros and the cons from the Nintendo Direct that had happened very recently. And if you didn't see it, or if you didn't watch any live streams or anything like that, the next console that Nintendo is coming out with, which is going to be the successor to the Switch 2, was revealed fully, and all the specs and games and the price and the hardware and all that stuff got fully revealed on April 2nd, so a couple days ago. And we're just going to talk about basically all the stuff that's gone down, and there is a ton of controversy with a lot of things that have happened, so we're going to discuss that today. So the release date for the Nintendo Switch 2 has been confirmed to be June 5th of 2025, so 2 months from now, which is really not a whole lot of time. 2 months from now, people will have their hands on the Switch 2 for the very first time, and you can see the price there, but we're going to talk about the price later on because there's a lot to say about that. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders begin April 9th. Now, as of recording this, this has changed because of the tariff stuff that's going on, which I don't know what's going on with the tariffs. I don't really care enough to know about what's happening with the tariffs, but all I know is that the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders have been delayed just to see what happens with these tariffs, and if they have to make any adjustments and stuff like that. And what's cool about this is, if you read this, invitations will go out on May 8th, 2025, and will be prioritized on a first-come, first-served basis to registrants who have purchased a Nintendo Switch Online membership within a minimum of 12 months of paid membership and a minimum of 50 total gameplay hours as of April 2nd, 2025. So I think they're doing this to combat scalpers, because Lord knows that these scalpers are probably, rubbing their hands like this, oh, Nintendo Switch 2, we're gonna, buy a ton of them and resell. So the fact that Nintendo is kind of like, hey, we're gonna keep an eye on these scalpers, that's a good thing. That's very good. That's a pro. The other thing that I want to talk about is some really big stuff for the Switch 2. So the Nintendo Switch 2 has 4K support, HDR, Joy-Con with mouse controls, 256 gigabytes of storage, red cartridges, and so much more. So, as it says right there, the Nintendo Switch 2 will in fact have 4K support for their games, which is really, really good, because I watched the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 edition gameplay that I think released yesterday, and the difference from the original Switch version to the Switch 2 version is actually surprisingly noticeable, like way more noticeable than I thought it was going to be. On the Nintendo Switch 2 version of those two games, you can actually, the graphics are a lot sharper, it's a lot cleaner looking. There's not a lot of fuzziness that you could see in like the Nintendo Switch 2, or excuse me, the original Switch, where the image looked a little bit blurry. So the fact that it has 4K support, and it will run, as far as I know, docked 60 frames, which is big time for me, because 60 frames is pretty vital in my opinion. Now, the Switch is not OLED from the get-go. They might make an OLED model down the line. I wouldn't be surprised. But for now, it's going to be HDR, which it definitely looked a lot better. If you watch the live stream, the comparison between the original Switch and the Switch 2, the colors were definitely a lot brighter on the screen, which I think is very, very cool. And of course, the mouse controls were confirmed, so there's going to be mouse kind of stuff that you can do in certain games, which is kind of a cool gimmick. I don't know how often it'll be used, but I like that it's there. 256 gigabytes of storage, which is massive, because if you know the original Switch, I'm pretty sure the original Switch only has 32 or 64 gigabytes. I think it's 32, and that's not really a whole lot. So 256 gigabytes is incredible. That's really, really great. I'm glad that they're going to have a lot more storage. Red cartridges, no longer are you going to have like the little black cartridges. They're going to be solid red now, which more color equals, in my opinion, that's pretty cool. And 7.9-inch LCD screen, which is pretty baller. 1080p on the screen, which is also very, very cool. Games running up to 120 frames, which is pretty crazy. Now, the other thing that got announced is that the game chat, there is now basically Nintendo Discord in the Switch. Now, I have to say, this is a con that I have to mention right away. I know we were going to talk about the cons later, but we can talk about it right now. But basically, this game chat feature is basically just Nintendo Discord, and you can talk to your friends while you play on the Nintendo Switch. So it's kind of like the PlayStation Online, Xbox Live sort of deal, where you know you're going to be able to interact with your friends online, and you're going to be able to like see each other in games. And it's very cool. It is very cool. However, if you watch the footage of it actually being used in the trailer, the stream quality is terrible. Now, I don't know if this will get fixed. I hope it does. I'm thinking that this will probably get amended at some point, but I have a bad feeling that that's actually going to be the quality that you see, which is that like horrible 480 10 frames a second. Like it looked really bad, so hopefully that does get fixed, because that's not very, very cool. New Pro Controller, which I am probably gonna end up getting because I want to play Metroid Prime 4 with an actual controller, so this will be a must for me. This camera is part of the game chat feature, which is $50, and the camera's all right. I initially thought that this camera was actually going to come with the console, but that is not true. It will be a separate thing. There's going to be new Joy-Cons now. Okay, we'll come back. We'll talk about the price later. But basically, some cool stuff that got announced. Of course, the games, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and a whole lot more. They talked about, like I just mentioned, Mario Kart, a brand new Donkey Kong game, Legend of Zelda, basically remastered editions, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 versions. They showed Metroid Prime 4 stuff. They showed some DLC for Kirby, and there's a brand new Kirby game, Kirby Air Riders, which that's unbelievable that they announced that. Here's Metroid Prime 4. Here's the DLC for Kirby and the Forgotten Land that I was telling you about. Super Mario Party Jamboree is getting an expanded version. Pokemon, there's a new Pokemon game coming out too. And now this is interesting, this welcome tour. Now, what's funny about this is it looks cool, but it's paid, which is, I don't know what's going on with Nintendo and their paid fetish that they're going on right now, and we'll talk about that later on. And one of the big things is that because this Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be far more powerful than the Switch 1, there's going to be able to run a lot of third-party games like Elden Ring, a brand new FromSoft game, Duskbloods, which is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2, brand new Hyrule Warriors game, and a ton of, in fact, I'm pretty sure there is a list here. Yeah, like, look at this. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cyberpunk 2077, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Borderlands 4, a new James Bond game, which I'm very intrigued by. Silksong, can you believe it, guys? I'm not a Silksong, or I'm not a Hollow Knight guy, but even I understand the importance of Silksong. I mean, that's a big time game. Enter the Gungeon 2, a lot of sports games. So Hogwarts Legacy, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater, Yakuza, a lot of these big time games are coming to the Switch 2, and I'm sure along or down the line there will be more third-party games. So that's pretty much all the pros that I can talk about right now. So as far as the actual live stream and the specs and the games, very, very good. Now we have to talk about the cons, unfortunately, and there are a lot of cons because Nintendo really dropped the ball. Now we got to get to the big elephant in the room. We got to talk about the cons, and this is highly unfortunate. Now, I'm not going to be ranting. I'm not going to be these people that are going, you know, freaking ballistic, which, in fairness, I totally understand why people would be going absolutely nuts about these prices, because we don't want to spend big bucks. I mean, no one likes to really spend money, and unfortunately, the price of the Switch 2 and the price of the games for the Switch 2 is what is kind of put a big wet damp towel over this whole excitement for the Switch 2. So the Nintendo Switch 2 price was confirmed, and it is unfortunately $450, which I will be honest, I thought it was going to be $400, and I'm pretty sure most people assumed that it was going to be $400, which the original Switch was $300. And I kind of figured it's going to be more expensive, because if it's a better version of the original Switch, and the Switch 1 came out 8 years ago, because as time goes on, things just get more expensive, and I was like, all right, the Switch 2 is probably going to be $400 is what I was predicting. But I also said that I would not be surprised if it's also $450, and it turns out that unfortunately the $450 price tag was absolutely correct, and it sucks. Now, there is no doubt that $450, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a PS5, man. Like, that's a PS5. You might as well just be buying a PS5. If Nintendo didn't have the exclusive rights to a lot of these franchises, I mean, it's game over, man. Unfortunately. Now, the price tag for the Switch 2 can be justified a little bit, in my opinion. I think that the Switch 2 price, the reason why it's like this, I'm pretty sure they confirmed, not just because of the tariffs and general inflation and the competition with other brands, but also because they did so much improvements over the original one that it's going to be more expensive. It's a better version of the original Switch. Now, do I agree with the price? Absolutely not, man. A $450, that's a lot of money. But you know, I can swallow this price. I can be like, all right, whatever. As long as the games are, you know, cheap, then we're fine. Oh, wait. Now, you guys can't really read this whole thing, but it says Mario Kart World isn't the only Nintendo Switch 2 game that costs $80. Some Nintendo Switch 2 edition games do as well. This is, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back with a lot of people. Not the price of the console, but the price of the games. $80? That's crazy. $80. Games were already expensive as it is, you know. Getting a AAA game brand new day one, $70. In my opinion, no game is worth even $60. I mean, these are video games, guys. Like, we don't need to be charging $60. All right, we don't need to be charging $70, let alone $60. And you're gonna ask us to pay $80 for, you're not seeing this yet, but $80 not just for the digital versions, but they're also charging an extra $10, so $90 for the physical versions. That's horrendous. That is pure greed. That's just really, really, really bad. For me, the price of the system sucks. I don't agree with it, but I can swallow it. But for me, the cost of these games ranging from $80 to $90 is absolutely unexcusable, because these aren't even like special edition, ultimate edition, collector's edition versions. These are just the standard base, no ifs, ands, or buts versions of these games. And you're a man. And one of the biggest things that I'm noticing is that a lot of people are saying, imagine you're like a family who want to buy a cool present for their child, and you're like, hey, let's buy him a Switch 2, for example, and we'll get him some games to go along with it. You're asking families and parents, not just normal people, but families and parents, to buy their children $80, maybe $90 games? I mean, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. You cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. And the prices for a lot of these extra things, for example, like if you want to get some Joy-Con replacements, for example, it's $90. I mean, is it $90? I'm pretty sure. So the price of the Joy-Cons are $90 for replacement Joy-Cons. I mean, that's criminal. That's absolutely criminal. The Pro Controller is $10 less. The Pro Controller costs less than the Joy-Cons. That really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all. Now, the consensus that I'm seeing, in fact, there's a vote here that I voted on the IGN article. What do you think of the $450 Nintendo Switch 2 price? 60% of people said it was too expensive. Totally fair. 35% said about right. And for me, I am somewhere in between about right and too expensive. Like I said earlier, I had a bad feeling that it was going to be $450, and I prepared myself for that. And I don't agree with the $450 price tag. but also I can swallow it. I mean, I originally thought it was gonna be $400. I can be okay with only a $50 increase. But the thing is, man, these games are so expensive. They are just so freaking expensive for these Switch 2 games, and it's horrible. And the consensus that I'm seeing from people, for example, let's check out some of the things here, like Greed 1914. 450 split the difference between what I hoped, 400, and what I feared, 500. It's the $80 games that are more concerning for me now. Why are people freaking out? Oh, from Blockbuster 90s. And I agree with this guy. I totally agree with this guy. Why are people freaking out over the price? We all knew it would be $400 at the absolute lowest. It's only $50 more. I don't want to be that guy, but if $50 breaks your bank account, you probably should get your finances in order before buying new game consoles. I totally agree with this. It's harsh, but I agree with it. It's the truth. $50, it's just $50. I don't agree with the price, the $450 price, but it's just a $50 increase. But the big thing is the fact that the games are so expensive. This is the thing that is kind of making people, like 80% of people's problem is the price of the games, not really the console. See, I'm not too upset at the price of the hardware, but the price for software is wild. From Craven the Hunter. Crazy that he's commenting on this. I'm baffled that physical editions of Mario Kart World cost $90 here in Europe. Even more baffled that there are people actually defending this. You cannot defend these games being $80 to $90. I mean, that's just horrible. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So anyways, guys, to wrap up this kind of really long video, I know this is more of a relaxed video. I'm not doing a whole lot of editing on this just because I want to talk about really just what's on my mind, is just the fact that the actual Nintendo Switch 2, the live stream and the showcase and the hardware being shown is great. There's no doubt it's great, but it kind of just got shat on because of the price of the console and the games. More so the games. People are more mad at the fact that these games cost $80 to $90, and I totally agree. I cannot defend that. $80 to $90 for these games is just horrible, because I feel like a lot of people would be a lot less, by far a lot less angry if they made the console $450 but the games were like $50, like $40 to $50. For me, that, no problem with that. Obviously, $40 to $50, that should be the price of games. But the fact that they're charging $80 to $90 is just absolutely criminal. So if you watched the Nintendo Treehouse live streams, you'll know that the entire community has been saying just 3 words: drop the price. And you know what? Kudos to them, man, because they are, you know, hopefully making their voices heard, and Nintendo see this and realize that, hey, we got to change this. So if you're one of those people that keeps commenting drop the price, don't stop, because we need Nintendo to hear our displeasures, and we need them to drop the price, just like everyone's been saying. It's an absolutely beautiful sight to see these people taking hold and, you know, saying we're not going to put up with this. So anyways, guys, thank you everybody very much for watching. Some final thoughts is just, the console is obviously great. The hardware is great. The games look great. It's fantastic. But the prices is what, rightfully so, people are having a problem with. And I can swallow the price of the console, but the prices of the games is absolutely unacceptable. There's no way you can defend that. So we'll see. You know, I'm not going to get a Switch 2 day one. I don't even know, you know, with the price of these games, I don't even know if I'm going to get it month 1. Maybe I'll get it sometime in 2025, and I can make a video about me getting it, and we'll do like an unboxing and kind of a showcase and all that stuff. But anyways, guys, thank you everybody very much for watching. I know this was a long video and very unedited, but I appreciate your time. Let me know what you think. Do you think the $450 price tag is too much, too little, just right, somewhere kind of in a gray area? What do you think of the game prices? Do you think Nintendo will change these prices at all? And just please let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And anyways, thank you everybody very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.